Now let's watch Tomato, by the way, because I'm actually interested. I have not watched this video yet. It says goodbye, so I assume that I mean, chances are he's just, I don't know. I think there's a little bit of, we'll see. I haven't watched it. I assume he's just doing Sumito more casual.
A conversation, guys. I'm sure anybody who's tuned in.
He's farming. Sumito, I don't think he's actually intentionally farming
to the internet has seen how busy my week has been. This has been the busiest couple days of my life. I've barely slept. That's why there haven't been any streams. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, I acquired Mineplex, and that's going to be my...
Oh, yeah. He's going hard into Minecraft. Hey, you know what? Minecraft's about 1,000 million times bigger than any other game. So you know what? Good luck.
My #1 priority going forward. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Overwatch 2. Obviously, anybody who's watched my streams over the years has continued to see my dissatisfaction with the game, and I'm not going to be taking shots at the game and saying, "Oh, it's the devs' fault." Obviously, you know, the blow of the PvE not being what was promised was kind of the final straw for me. That broke the camel's back. That let me know, okay, I just need to move on. I know I don't want to be here my whole career. I know I don't want to be here my whole life. I want to move on and do more with my life. And obviously,
I think there's actually a really good balance in the middle here where what I was going to say was, do you guys remember back during the GOATS era when I kind of logged on and I streamed every day and I was just like the most depressed Overwatch streamer of all time? And then you guys, I remember I would have chat come in every day and be like, bro, why are you playing this game? And then eventually I sit there and I go, why am I playing this game? Eventually, like, it breaks through the stream chat barrier. And I'm like, wait, and I take it seriously. I'm like, wait, why am I playing this right now? This is dumb. And then I just didn't play the game for 2 years, basically, right? And so I kind of look at it as typically, we'll keep going with this video in a second, but generally speaking, there's a line where, like, so if you are upset about something, you can sit there and rage and get upset constructively online for, I would say, a decent amount of time, right? So like 2 weeks, a month or so, you know, whatever you want to say, whatever your grief period is, we'll say, right? After that, though, if you keep going, then you just kind of get even more depressing. And then there's like the line of like too much. It's like, well, now you're just, it's like you're hurting yourself at that point. Just do something else on top of other stuff. And so I think that line is interesting because it's different from person to person. You reach acceptance, not acceptance, more of you want to be able to not get stuck into the being like negative Nancy 24/7, because it's not, you don't want to be that person.
Design is a big part of that, and that's, you know, why one of the reasons why I wanted to get Mineplex was so that I actually had the ability to go design games and pursue my dream. And it's just very clear that Overwatch isn't really going to be a space to do that, and I really don't want people to take
that is actually, yeah, he actually has big ambitions. That's actually really interesting.
As one of those, oh, I'm quitting the game, blah, 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 I hope this game dies. No, you know, like, I want Overwatch to succeed. You know, it has a very special place in my heart. It's been great. And, you know, it's just like right now with what I want to do with my life and how I'm feeling and stuff like that, it just is elsewhere. I can't have Overwatch be my #1 priority. So the days of Sumito coming on and streaming top 500 ranked every day are no longer going to be here, just to be honest with you. Let's you know, I want to branch out, do more rant style videos about things in general. Mineplex is going to take a lot of my attention. Now,
so basically he's just saying he's going to take it more casually. Dude, that is the best way to play Overwatch, by the way. I'm just going to be honest. When I personally, I don't know if you guys notice it, but how I personally treat Overwatch is I log on for, and I think this is how the developers want you to play, is you play for 2 to 3 weeks on a season launch, you enjoy the new character, maybe level up your battle pass or whatever, and then you just log on casually. And so I think there's a lot I could actually talk about in this topic. For example, I truly wonder if like content creators put themselves in weird holes where, you know, they log on and they play solo queue ranked as their main form of playing the game. And then I think everyone can agree solo queue ranked is not exactly the most interesting or fun experience. And so imagine you stick a random person and you do that for like, you know, 6 to 8 hours a day. And then it seems kind of natural that over time they're just going to run into, you know, people flaming you enough that you're just not going to have fun over the years. You know what I mean? Soul crushing. It's only soul crushing because solo queue ranked is one of the worst ways actually to experience a team-based game like Overwatch. Because, you know, I used to be a pro in Overwatch, and so I had actually a big adjustment period when my main form of experiencing the gameplay of Overwatch back in 2017, 2018 and stuff was scrims for like 4 to 6 hours a day, plus probably a couple hours a day of auto review plus solo queue afterwards. But all of that stuff combined, right, was organized play versus solo queue. And so the organized play is awesome and it's cool, but that's such a different world. So yeah, I think tryhard top ranked is still the best to watch, but I get it from a streamer's perspective. Well, I think it's hard for me to talk about. So I will say, I think super sweaty, high MMR ranks in almost any game in solo queue is generally a meme. When people get to that point, pros are better off creating their own custom servers and just creating their own services. So stuff like Face It and Counter-Strike are a good example and stuff like that, because otherwise you basically, the issue you start running into is there's literally not enough pro players online at any given point, and the game is decided essentially when the game starts. So anyway, there's so many niche topics I'm covering, but the general one I wanted to say was, I think the core of what Sumito is saying though, and treating these games seasonally, not playing them literally every day, is very, very important to not burn out over time. Are there going to be
some days where I'm like, you know what, maybe I kind of want to stream some Overwatch ranked? Yeah, I'll hop on and I'll stream, and you know, it's not gonna I'd be like I'm abandoning this channel forever or the Overwatch content forever. It's just right now with things where things are at, especially the state of the game. I mean, obviously the PvE lying just made me lose all trust, and that was really the big deciding factor in me wanting to go. Like, I knew I had some interest in Mindplex, but after...
Okay, so I will say, why does he keep saying lying? I don't think they actually directly lied about anything.
You know, I heard what was...
But you could just treat me as naive if you want, but I really don't think they did.
...going on. That definitely was the thing that made me say...
We went over this in the timelines and everything else. You're going to have to watch his other video. We did. That's his narrative. Yeah, we went over all of that stuff. They knew before Overwatch 2 release. Wait, how do they know before Overwatch 2 release when they said in the interview that PV was canceled in December? Where are you guys getting this shit? That's basically lying. We've gone over this. Why do you trust them? Yeah, I don't think we can really reason with these people. If you guys are going to go as far to say that random developers and interviews are specifically lying, and they're just random devs, not even like executives or something, I think you can't even really reason from that position anymore to talk and like have a reasonable like discussion. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing we can really do to even get on the same page at that point when you assume that developers are just random devs, right? Are specifically lying. So we'll see. That's what you said, streamer, that decided a year ago. Are you talking about my original video I came out with a while back? And the state of Overwatch 2, where I said, yeah, it'll probably be cut up into seasonal battle passes and everything? Because that was just a prediction. There are a lot of conspiracy theorists regarding Overwatch 2 PvE. This sucks, where they're pretending some grandiose plan on Blizzard's part. Well, no, I mean, the very specific line I have is, all of this stuff is terrible, right? We've already had this discussion. We did have this discussion, but I find it interesting. They'll be fired if they say otherwise. Bro, you think they're getting random devs to go on the forums and stuff and say, yeah, guys, this decision was actually made like in this month, we weren't lying, and then bro, what? Did they not say they knew Overwatch PV was not going to happen before Overwatch 2 came out? No, that is not what they said. They said specifically, actually, that they actually had 2 teams still working on it all throughout last year until they realized they couldn't make it work. The big content creators believe they lied because they misinterpreted Keller's quote. That's why, yeah. We're on the same page. All I'm going to say is, get mad. So here's where I draw the line. Get mad at the situation and get mad at how stupid this company is for all these different reasons. That's fine. But to say individual developers are lying in interviews, to me, crosses a specific line, because I don't see a reason or incentive for those random people to lie. And it crosses into like this conspiracy theory speculation bullshit that makes no sense to me. Because, dude, there are a million legitimate reasons to get mad and upset at Blizzard over a million things. You don't need to come up with this other bullshit and just add it on top that isn't even true. There's no point.
All right, we need to jump ship here. We need to, you know, go focus on my dream and other business ventures and stuff like that, because it was always on my mind. I knew I wanted to do it, but with the state of the game, you know, I personally miss 6v6. I hadn't really brought up 6v6 too much just because, you know, there was no point. We were looking forward to PvE and stuff. But for me personally, on a personal note, I just liked having more synergy. I like more a higher skill ceiling. And you know, that's just kind of what I wanted. And it's just, there's just a big sour taste in my mouth towards this franchise right now about
missing 6v6. 6v6, chat, I think there is a very legitimate criticism of 5v5 in that you miss off-tank synergy. That is very, very common of a criticism to say, like, hey, I miss off-tanks as a role. I think tank is too restricted. Tanks have to stare at the enemy tank too often, and now counter picks are too important in the main tank role. You know, stuff like that. All that stuff, a lot of it comes down to 6v6 versus 5v5. I can totally see why high-end players in particular have that take, even though, you know, 6v6 also had stuff like double shield goats, too much brawl, you know, stuff like that. But that stuff isn't necessarily tied to, you know, 6v6 or 5v5, but bad balance. And I can see a lot of these creators and players taking the angle that is essentially like, the angle is, guys, 6v6 wasn't the problem. It was shit balance, too many shields and all this other stuff. We could have kept 6v6 and just kept that going. And like, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but I still think the overall game flow of having 5 players and just straight up not as much HP on the field gives people more solo carry potential. But I also do understand the POV of people missing the synergy because, dude, I literally was a pro off-tank player. I played, if anyone remembers how I played competitive Overwatch, I flexed between deep projectile DPS and off-tank for literally years. That was my, I played fucking Zarya. Probably Zarya might be my most played actually character in my comp career for like 3 years. I played Weird Flex, bro. Weird Flex. And obviously I played Diva at the end of Overwatch League and I did stuff like that. And so off tank was the role I appreciated the most. And so now if you guys look at how much tank I play, I don't play tank. That role is fucking dead to me. Because it's boring as hell now. I don't consider it particularly interesting in 5v5 because off tank had a lot more interesting decisions to make than main tanks do. So I get it, but also, God, I really appreciate the solo carry potential more. So yeah, let's keep going.
Just everything, man. Like, I was looking forward to PvE so much and it's just not there. The state of ranked is horrible. I still can't even play with my friends. Like, why would I like want to stick around on that product? You know, I know like the ceiling for content creation is bigger in other places. I'm miserable playing the game, right? It's very clear that they aren't catering this game towards competitors, which is what I am. It just, you know, it was
that line at the end is very interesting, by the way. It's clear they're catering this game towards competitors, which I am, because inherently Overwatch has and always will be a casual game first and foremost. I remember when it came out and people saw Soldier 76 ult and were like, what the hell? You have an aimbot and a button? This game is dumb. Why can Winston kill you without aiming? Why does Mercy not have to aim? It's like, it's always been this game that's tried to accept and cater to as many people as possible. And so it's always had the stigma. And I think that stigma is generally true, that it is a very casual centric game. It just is.
No-brainer decision for me to look to just go do other stuff. And again, let me be clear. This is not one of those videos where it's like, I hate this company and I hope the team fails and I hope the game dies. No, of course, dude. There's so many great people in the scene and, you know, I hope to see them succeed and do well. And that's all I ever wanted for this game, right? Was to see it thrive and pop off and be a game that really attracts so many people from different places, because it really is the most special shooter game I've ever played. I've never played a shooter game that has the polish that this one has. It has the diversity of gameplay options that this one has.
Diversity of gameplay options is the biggest one to be. You will never see another game on the market that has a game with a hamster rolling around the ball, with Pharah flying around, with Mercy attaching to people and just floating around too, and then like Tracer blinking, and then you have Soldier 76 Call of Duty guy who just walks around and shoots. The biggest strength of Overwatch is always in how unique the gameplay is. Paladins, come on, man. Okay, stop.
It has the storytelling this one has. Like, Overwatch still does have the most potential out of any FPS game on the market. It's just, not only has it just not ever really been pursued, but it's just been flushed down the toilet over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm just so tired of sitting here powerlessly watching and wasting my career here. when I could go pursue other things. Like the reality of Overwatch is, and this is just where Activision Blizzard as a company entirely has taken it, is it's just going to be a mid-tier game. And, you know, that could be sustainable.
Damn. I think this has actually been an interesting one for me too, because I personally, dude, that is, people aren't actually, it's true though. I talked about it on the podcast with SVB. If you guys, I don't know how many people here, probably not that many, saw it at the time. But I said something like, Overwatch is a really, really big pie, basically, right? It was something like the example is, you know, and Overwatch PvP is a very small slice of the overall people who are interested in Overwatch, right? And Overwatch PvE was supposed to be something a lot bigger that could hit a lot harder than PvP Overwatch ever could. And so the fact that that's canceled now, and he says it'll be forever mid or this or that, I don't think I would call it mid necessarily, because Overwatch is still ridiculously popular. But it definitely constrains it to that in my mind, because it just feels like it was not supposed to be just this experience. Copium? I don't think it's copium. The reason I say I don't consider it mid is because, God, dude, they're going to make so much fucking money off this game. It's disgusting. It's gross, dude.
Well, for them, that could be great for them and they could make that work. But for me personally, I'm too competitive, man. I'm in everything I'm in to win. And whether I end up winning or losing, you know, I've lost plenty in my career. I've lost plenty in my life. I made plenty of mistakes, right? But, you know, I don't regret it, because that's just the kind of man that I am. I'm a competitor and I want to give everything I have to every project. And I'm not interested in a project that just does the bare minimum. I'm not interested in being around something that doesn't go out there. Like, you know, I've kind of talked about this a little bit. I'm going to open up about a couple things here.
Before he gets into it, though, I'm actually so interested still in how... we'll see. I was going to go into a little bit. Did content creators... I was wondering, did many of them intend on creating that much PV content in the first place? I did, actually, because I love PV, and I was going to be like, yeah, fuck it. In my long-term vision of Overwatch for myself, chat, I actually did not consider myself playing PvP that much. And so now when PvP is all there is, I look at it and I go, oh, okay. I mean, I've done this for 7 years, so I know exactly what it is and what it basically, you have that idea in your head of what it always will be. And it's always going to be that game. I'll log on a little bit casually and play, but because I've played it for so many hours at this point, I'll go into binges of it, right? I'll binge it for like a month. And then after that, I'll probably stop, because I've just played it too much. Always a lot of interest in PvE content, IMO. Yeah, that was me. I was mostly, you know, I'll play PvP casually, but I was mostly interested in PvE in the long run. And so the fact that that's gone now means it destines me to be a more casual gamer, if that makes sense.
You know, ever since my buddy Jalen died, right?
I holy shit, we're going in.
At his funeral, and, you know, we had to carry his casket, and it was an open casket, right? And I you know, he was my best friend. It's where I got my name. It's where I got everything.
Damn.
And I remember looking down at his body and just, I can't get that image out of my head. And ever since that moment, I changed. I realized that you have to give everything you have while you're here, or it's not worth it. It's not about winning or losing. It's about, obviously, winning is important and you want to win, but it's about giving it 110% every single day. And while I'm in the Overwatch scene, and that's my main thing, I know that I'll never be able to give it 110% because I just don't believe in the vision. I just don't, and that's the cold hard truth. Like, I need to go do something that I believe in to be fulfilled as a human being. And that's not to say that
he's going deep.
Can't feel fulfilled in Overwatch. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not saying that
he's talking about him.
That you shouldn't. Please make no mistake. This is a complete personal note, right? And this is by no means
melodramatic as fuck, guys. Respect a little bit. He's talking about his grief a little bit and how it changed him as a person. But also, this is his own video to his own channel, and we're watching it. Like, this isn't for us. It's for his people who specifically enjoy his content on a regular basis and probably know him better as a person than I do. If you watch somebody's content consistently over time, you get a general idea of it's his video. Exactly. Respect
shit on anybody at the team or shit on any creator who wants to pursue a career in Overwatch. Go for it. If that's what fulfills you, abso-freaking-lutely, right? But I have to be real about myself and what I want and what I need to do. And I think that's been pretty apparent for many, many years now. I would say since 2020 that, you know, I have not really been fulfilled in Overwatch, and
I gotta say though, Sam, when you said you give 110% to everything in life, holy fuck, man. I really hope Samito is still around for new season stuff where like he just drops the rants. God, I love his rants.
I haven't wasted my time. I don't regret my time, right? Because it's been beautiful, it's been fun, but you know, I don't think that this game is going to be elite. I don't. I just don't. I hope it does. I hope I'm wrong. But, you know, listen, when true colors get revealed, you know, you got to believe it, right? And
so the interesting part about that specific part to me is, how do I put it? It's not, how do I say this? What does elite mean? It's, Overwatch is a known product. Overwatch is a known everything. For him specifically to walk in now and be like, you know, I don't think this is going the places that I want, and that I personally think I would be super invested and I want to give 110%. That's what he's talking about. It's not even necessarily the current popularity or anything, because if he believed in the current vision for it, he would be all in regardless of the current popularity, if that makes sense. Elite maybe equals competitive focus. No, he's talking about overall popularity plus the vision for the game in his mind, I think, is what he's talking about.
you know, while
Overwatch is pretty relevant still, though. Exactly. Overwatch is a very popular game, and it is a very popular franchise. But I think he's saying that he's basically, in other words, kind of falling out of love with the game and he doesn't think he can stay here at and give it his all anymore.
I do love Jared and Aaron. I don't think it's their faults at all. I think Jared's actually done a great job of replying to people on Twitter. It's been really fun to see him stand his ground. And I got to say, Jared, I respect the hell out of that, man. You keep doing it, and I hope that you can turn this ship around and keep it going and keep the ball rolling here. And best of luck to you, man. We're rooting for you. And I hope I encourage my entire community, especially who still are going to be playing Overwatch every day, to also root for him, right?
Nice right click.
But yeah, no, for me, it's just like, look, I know that this is not the place that's going to make my dream come true. I know that in order to be a better man and give back like I was given to from this gaming industry, that I need to go elsewhere. And that's what my plan is. Right. So, you know, obviously I've been very silent this week to talking to you guys about what my plan is, because honestly, it's been crazy. I mean, contracts at 2 a.m.
Overwatch will never be Valorant, though. What's interesting is Overwatch at its very peak in the early days, when there was nothing else going on, it peaked higher than most of the games you're thinking of. That's why when people talk about the potential of Overwatch, when they really think about it, they talk about Overwatch 2016. And they go, wow, Overwatch peak 2016 was crazy. And then nowadays, not as much. It's still very, very, very popular, but not that popular, right? And so when people talk about Overwatch PV and stuff, they look at it as the potential to hit the peak that it once already did in 2016, 2017, in my mind, right? Valorant peak was nothing like Overwatch peak. It's difficult to talk about Overwatch peak back then because a lot of people weren't even around. Most of the Overwatch audience these days is new. It sounds like people stuck in the past. You could argue that it is people stuck in the past. You could say that Overwatch had it released at a time with zero competition because there was no other real live service FPS games in that era, right? That were really popular. 2 years later, it'd be Fortnite, and Fortnite just kind of took over. There's a lot you could talk about. The CBs, thank you.
Getting my development team together.
TF2, guys, TF2 was like 8 years old at that point, was essentially a dead game. The expectations for Overwatch are stuck in the past. People, Blizzard, and fans hold the game to that standard. Yeah, that is essentially what I'm saying. Yeah. And so PvE was supposed to be the expectation of Overwatch that we could potentially hit that old standard again. And I think now that that's gone, now that people realize what you see is what you're getting, plus refinement. Now we're seeing a trend of consistent refinement, which is we're going all in on Overwatch as a PvP game first and foremost. We want to release consistent content. We don't want to be AFK for years and all this other stuff. And all those things are good. But it will always be compared to back then. So it's going to be
planning out everything that we need to do. I have huge plans for Mindplex. And this is going to be my step into the reins of game design and making sure that we can make some dreams come true for many people. And,
He's chasing
really
his dreams, man.
give
Respect
back
it.
to the experience that I've gotten. And it's just the state of Overwatch. It's just not that game. It's just not that game. It's not what it once was. And I don't think
He just said it. Not what it once was. We were just talking about people giving their expectations stuck in the past, all this other stuff. That's exactly it.
personally, if I had to,
So he is selling his project by slating Overwatch. Stop. No.
if I was a betting man and I had to bet,
You have to be responsible to your own like community at that point. Be like, yeah, I'm disappearing. Here's why, you know?
I would say it probably won't
Not like I've ever done that before. Sometimes I just fucking disappear for 5 months. I don't tell you guys shit.
ever be, which is fine. It still can be sustainable. It can still do well, but you know, it's really hard to hit the bar as to what this game was on release because there was nothing like it, and there never will be. That's how special it was, right? That's not me saying that you can't be successful in the Overwatch scene because like the first launch was just one of the most incredible things in the history of gaming.
It really was a very special time. That was crazy, man. I don't think people fully realize just how psycho 2016 was for Overwatch. Very special time. To give you an idea of how crazy, most of us weren't there. Yeah, to give you an idea of how crazy it was, yeah, this is 2016 Twitch. I went from 60 viewers to 6,000 in like 5 to 7 days. And then on release went from 2,000 to 3,000 viewers to 48,000, I think, in one more week. Like that is how popular Overwatch launch was. Like that was the psycho times.
It definitely got all the credit that it deserved, and I do hope it can get.
It was hype. Oh yeah, dude, it was crazy hype. It was psycho stuff. So, and then I remember me posting like a Genji game that I finished in 1 minute 17 seconds. You guys, that was the viral clip that made me go popular. Got like 8 million views, right? Like the amount of raw interest in Overwatch at that time was so obscenely high. Of course, it wasn't sustainable. It's just ridiculous. And there will always be new games that pop up and go down, pop up and go down, pop up and go down, right? Over the years, like, you know, in 2017, we saw the rise of PUBG streamers. Then PUBG streamers, you know, went to Fortnite in 2018, so on. Overwatch created XQC was fucking massive. Overwatch did not actually create XQC. XQC was after the peak, actually. He was 2018, 2019. Yeah, oh, if you actually go, XQC blew up at, what was it, 2018 TwitchCon and Reddit. He didn't actually blow up off Overwatch at that time. I think he had 6K viewers and went to 25K off of a TwitchCon. So I don't think he actually blew up off Overwatch as much.
Back there, but right now we got to focus on us, man. We got to keep.
Also, these are all my boomer knowledge because I've been in Overwatch forever, so I know all. I remember all the history because I was here. It was the launch pad for a lot of creators. Oh, true, it was the launch pad for me. I remember. What was it? What was the first generation Overwatch streamers? Just in terms of just streamers, only because I barely remember at the time. Would have been me. It's Tim the Tabman started streaming Overwatch. I remember I told Moon to start streaming in beta, and then. Who else? I think there was like us three. I remember seeing Lassus around all the time. There's like those guys. There was a lot. It started a lot of people's careers.
Things moving. We got to be the best we can be every single day. And I know that I can't be the best man I can be while focusing primarily on Overwatch. So, you know, this is kind of what.
So anyway, the interesting thing though, Star, Muselk, Moon, Tim, Emong a little later. Emong got big 2018 when all the people were in Overwatch, if I'm right. 2019, I think it was around 2020 was when Flats started. Flats is a lot newer. J3 has been around the whole time. He's been dude, J3 has been hard grinding for like 7 years at this point. Dude, that guy is a huge respect to him. Yeah, there's a lot of people around. There's a lot.
I'm stepping away from the game a little bit.
Star was TF2 chat.
I'm not quitting.
Way more than Overwatch. I think at the very beginning.
Like
Though I think he started to do a lot more streaming starting in Overwatch.
Be around.
I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time. I barely remember.
If you guys need me, I'll try to be in and out when I have time. But Mindplex is now my #1 priority. I've got to get the ball rolling here. I've got a ton of projects that I got to work on.
Sure,
I'll have a lot more news for that for you guys on that sooner. But I'm gonna go chase my dream. And Overwatch, you know, while you've been my #1 priority for so many years, I want to say thank you for the memories. Thank you for everything. It's not the last you'll see of me, but I'm still really, really grateful for all the people I've met, the journey it's been, the mistakes I've been able to learn from and continue to learn from. Overwatch made me a better man. and I am very grateful for that. So yeah, no, to all my friends of the Overwatch team, good luck, have fun, keep grinding, keep doing you, believe in yourself. Chat, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and those of you who are coming with me on my journey forward through Mindplex and forward into the game design industry and forward into many other business plans that I'll be able to talk about, that's awesome. So yeah, you'll see me on Ranked maybe twice a week, but and you'll still see rant videos on this channel covering like a ton of subjects. But yeah, that's why I'm stepping away from Overwatch. It's time for me to spread my wings. So thank you guys so much. I love you. I'll see y'all later with a ton of announcements.
You go, Samito, man. Chase your dreams. I understand how Mindplex helped lose dream. How popular is competitive Minecraft nowadays? Is it really competitive focused? I don't know enough about Minecraft, but a lot of that stuff would be, honestly, dude, Minecraft, and once you start getting into those types of games, you're dealing with much different scales of audiences. I remember we talked about this a while back of there are just massive YouTubers who are just so ridiculously popular in Minecraft that appeal to like kids, you know, like 8 to 12 years old, that you will never know. And the reason for that is just because you'll never watch any of their videos, but they get, you know, I think I saw one that was like some 18 and 19-year-old duo, just a couple Zoomers, whatever, made a YouTube channel and had this whole shtick that they were doing. And I think they got 600, 700 million views a month on YouTube, which, you know, they probably made like a quick $20 million. So yeah, Minecraft is a different, it's just, you know, very different scale. Okay. Very, very, very different scale. All right. When you're talking about that stuff. So who knows about Mindplex or this or that? I don't know anything about Minecraft, but you know, I wish him the best. And also, he said that he's not going to be leaving. The big one about this for Samito is he said that he just doesn't want it to be his main form of content anymore, which I think is, and I talked about it in the middle of this video, I think it's the healthiest way to play Overwatch. What you should do is you log into Overwatch in a new season, you play it for a few weeks, finish your battle pass, have a good time, but then in the later parts of the season, when things start to slow down, if you just grind every day in ranked, you can if you really want to, but I think forcing yourself to do it can make you actually dislike the game over time, because I feel the game doesn't actually want you to play that much sometimes. So that's how it feels to me. They might do gaming video essays or something. I think Samito would have far higher potential and do way better in anything that is not Overwatch, just because his React and how he does everything and his energy that he brings to videos, they're very, very passionate. I think he would do well in basically anything. I think he'll be fine. Unless you're Emong. Emong's the type of guy who logs in and just wants to get his, you know, he's got to get his 50 games. I don't know. Einstein Tackney's Alec 50 months. What's up, Jason? Thank you. He said he's going to do rant videos. Perfect. Good for him. He'll be fine. Oh yeah, and there was this. This is what started me going to Samito's channel. Oh no. It's kind of Samito's fault. This is awesome. I fucking love this post.